Well. Are we surprised? Should we be surprised? Someone is wearing red.
Oh my goodness.
As expected.
It was totally unplanned. It has nothing to do with today.
Someone's in
Nothing.
Valentine moods.
No.
You can see.
It is so unrelated. Plus the colors for Valentine's, I don't know who said they should be.
Wow.
They're usually plain red and black. This is...
Really?
Yes.
So is that
I'm
how you're...
wearing blue jeans.
I'm sure that's not just an insurance policy.
No, it
So you want to
isn't.
celebrate Valentine's without making it too obvious. So now you can, plausible deniability. Oh, well, yes, it's red, but
Kale,
not
don't
entirely
do me like
red.
that. It was honestly not planned.
Okay. You can see for me, like, I'm totally not... like, this is army green. I sit here before you as a soldier.
He's celebrating Tarehe Sita
Exactly.
a few days later.
Right. Just hand me a machine gun and send me off to the parade. And,
God. But I love red. And you've always said it, that Olive likes to wear red. And I do wear lots of red stuff. So it has nothing to do with today.
I shall give you a break. But happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day, Daddy Suhana.
Now, a lot of people say that Valentine's isn't specifically meant to be romantic, that it can also be platonic, it can be familial.
Yeah.
In many cultures, people offer gifts to family members on Valentine's, to
That's
mothers,
to friends.
to friends.
Yes.
So-
Yes, only that the lovers, of course, take advantage of the day mostly. But if you feel like doing something special with your baby Suhana, you can as well do it. I remember I've never actually gone out on a date on Valentine's Day, like with a guy, but I've gone out on Valentine's Day dinner with a friend,
Okay.
a female friend.
And what happened after that?
We went home. Come on.
I remember I had I really liked my English teacher when I was in primary 2 or second grade. It was an American school in Japan where I was studying at the time, and she was called Miss Adams. Very, very sweet lady. And so on Valentine's Day, actually for us, it was like a class activity where I think on Valentine's Day, from like the last hour of the day, you could go around giving chocolates to mostly your classmates, your friends, or the girl you had a crush on. And believe it or not, even at that age, we had crushes.
Of course.
But I gave my English teacher a Valentine chocolate. Miss Adams, and she was very, very pleased. And many other kids did as well.
Miss Adams must have been very professional, because I know a president who crushed on his teacher when he was just a kid. And years later, he married her.
Well, I didn't get to marry Miss Adams like Mr. Macron did, his former teacher. But that's just the power of, if as a teacher, if you show love to students, they love you back.
Yes, they do love you back. English was my favorite subject in school. And in every school I went to, my favorite teacher was always the teacher of English, whether male or female. I always had them as my favorite teachers.
But would you make them your Valentine? Perhaps not.
For instance, in secondary school, remember most literature teachers or teachers of English are usually styled up, they smell nice, they come to class neat as compared to their, let's say, maths counterparts.
I don't know why, but math or chemistry or physics teachers, they always look disheveled. They're usually drunkards. Have you noticed?
Yes. My maths teacher wasn't a drunkard, but that's the only thing he had going for him. Right.
Well, whichever way you intend on spending this day, and whoever you choose to make your Valentine, it's up to you. Make it special in your own way. Well, yesterday was special, not in a romantic way, but in a judicial way, for two members of parliament who've been widely discussed on this program, Allan Ssewanyana of Makindye West and Kawempe North's Muhammad Ssegirinya, who were granted bail yesterday by the High Court in Masaka. Please remember that they were accused of masterminding a spate of machete murders in Masaka. Remember when there were gangs of machete-wielding thugs hacking at people there in Masaka? And terrorizing the communities there. So they grabbed these two MPs and said, hey, you guys are connected to it, which left a lot of us with many questions.
Yes.
Because these two members of parliament are far removed from that area. They represent constituencies that are not even in Masaka.
That's true.
So it made people wonder what would they possibly have to do with this, and it led many to speculate that there could have been political motivations for these arrests.
Yes.
So I don't know, has that view changed? I mean, do you still think there's way too many questions?
Of course, there is still way too many questions. And this is what we've wanted. We've wanted the members of parliament to see their day in court and, of course, to also get bail because it's their constitutional right. You're still investigating. Let these guys be out as you do the investigation. Then when the day comes and the cases are presented in court, then we can see the evidence. And if it is sufficient, then you can sentence them. Anyway, now here they are out of jail, but of course now there are questions. Remember last week we talked about the Chief Justice saying that he's going to see to it that this case is conducted expeditiously, and the leader of opposition in Parliament, Matthias Mpuga, was like, what do you mean expeditiously? These guys have been in jail for 1.5 years and you've been silent.
Exactly.
And I remember telling you, Fatboy, that now that he has spoken, wait and see how things are going to change, and you're going to think that the government is finally doing what it's supposed to do. But in my opinion and many people's opinions, maybe now the government has started to lose interest in this case, and this is the beginning of dismissing it.
And in this country, one common trend that we've seen, I forget the terminology, the correct terminology for this, but it's called persecution through litigation.
Yes.
So essentially, even if there may not be strong grounds for your arrest, as long as they have the power to arrest you and to detain you and to hold you in remand,
frustrate you and
to
make
frustrate
you miserable for a given
they can
period
bog
of time.
you down into a very protracted legal quagmire for years and years,
Yes.
in which you can't easily leave the country because depending on what you've been charged with, if it's a capital offense, certainly not. Most likely you'll even be held in remand the entire time. You are going to be incurring heavy legal costs that can potentially bankrupt you because your lawyers are going to need to be paid to represent you. And then, of course, your schedule, daily, your life is disrupted
That's
by
true.
having to appear in court at all these odd days and
And that is if you're outside. That is if you're leaving home to come to court, because in their case, they've been in jail. They first got bail sometime last year, and then when they were reaching the gate of the prison, they were kidnapped, for lack of a better word, and taken back to prison.
Imagine that. So it's a highly disruptive and highly costly way to suffer at the hands of the state. And, if in the end they are exonerated or acquitted or the case is dismissed, the government doesn't care because their intention was probably not to see you convicted, but to just really inconvenience your life.
Boss.
I mean, you look at, say, someone like Tumukunde. How much of his life was disrupted by his arrest and court case?
Of course, much of it, maybe the payback was to give him a daughter-in-law. I'm being petty.
This country is very mysterious, by the way.
I know, because on one hand, this guy is in jail. Then later on, he is contesting for presidency. And then after his son marries the daughter of the man he was contesting against.
It's crazy. So at least now they have been granted their bail, these two members of parliament, and I wonder if they will be at liberty to discuss in detail their views of this case.
According to the bail hearing, there wasn't anything like you cannot discuss this with the media. They were just asked to pay a cash bond of 20 million each, and of course to deposit their passports.
All right.
And show up at the International Crimes Division once a month.
Well, I'm sure they'll be making the rounds on all of the political talk shows on television and radios everywhere.
NBS, NTV, radio stations.
Everywhere.
Maybe we'll have them here too.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Who knows? Or you might talk to them on Brunch Talk.
Yes,
that would be interesting.
yes.
Okay. Well, let's see what happens. We'll keep updating you on the story. For sure, we'll keep our eyes on it. Keep listening to The Fatboy Show on RX Radio. This is The Fatboy Show.